Crank up the engines. We'll show you tractors Dad had, like this Mini Mow, this beautiful Case DC, and an International with the wet look. So now, let's catch classic tractor fever.
Hello there, I'm Ray Wilkinson. We're going to have some fun today. How did you get started collecting classic tractors? Well, if the one you started with is the tractor your dad had, you're not unusual. We have found that lots of folks with the fever have a special place in their heart for the tractor their dad farmed with. All the hours spent working with that tractor, why, it just almost became part of the family. And whatever color Dad farmed with, well, that's likely the color you're collecting yet today. So call it Father's Day here on Classic Tractor Fever as we take a look at a few tractors Dad had. Coming up, we'll tell you an incredible story of a very special Minneapolis Moline tractor. So don't go away.
It's true. Rural America is alive and well. Some say it is thriving. About a fourth of the nation's population is out here. Yes, it's getting a little more congested, with the rural population growing by more than 1 million in the decade of the 90s. Where you are on the rural route is where many others want to be. It is, to be sure, one of the complex issues facing our rural residents, and it is one we'll deal with often on Channel Earth, Channel 283 on Direct TV.
When I talk to other growers, I hear about how much new technology they're using. Is the same true in your operation?
It's helping me look at details more carefully, and that's important to my success. For instance, John and I are using this new equipment to soil sample on 2.5-acre grids. With Tara's help, I'm looking at my fields in a whole new way, and that gives me the chance for better yields.
So new technology and Tara are helping you farm more profitably?
Absolutely. Tara's helping me stay on top.
There are more than 9 million dairy cows in this country. Maybe some of them are on your place. At Pharmacia and Upjohn Animal Health, we make the products that help you keep them healthy.
As radar, this was my favorite swamp. As Gary Berghoff, real swamps are even more important to me. They're home to millions of plants and animals and part of our natural heritage. When I buy duck stamps, I help preserve that heritage. Buying these beautiful stamps have helped protect over 5 million acres of wetlands and surrounding habitats for our future. Uh-oh, incoming! Gotta run.
Stamp collectors or wildlife lovers, call 1-800-STAMP-24 to order your duck stamps.
If you've got the fever, show it off with beautiful classic tractor fever apparel. Choose from a rugged denim cap, a comfortable button-down denim shirt, or a striking denim jacket that'll stop traffic at any tractor show. Each item is emblazoned with the words Classic Tractor Fever in bright, eye-catching colors. Made in the USA, this high-quality clothing is a must for any classic tractor collector.
I've got Classic Tractor Fever, and you can get it too.
Catch the fever today. A great gift idea for guys and gals. Just call 1-800-888-8979 for full details, sizes, and prices. That's 1-800-888-8979.
Thomas Wolfe once wrote, "You can't go home again." And maybe that's true as far as people are concerned, but what about classic tractors? Can they go home again? Well, when Gary Harrison visited Rex Mercer's Pine Ridge Farm, he found out that one special classic tractor that was long gone is now indeed back home again in Indiana.
Uh-oh, here's more pictures of Minnie Pearl, what she looked like when we got her.
Rex Mercer was only 4 years old when Minnie Pearl first came to stay with him and his family of 7 brothers, 3 sisters, a mom, and a dad.
Yeah.
56 years later, both Rex and Minnie Pearl are still going strong. Minnie Pearl was born a 1941 Minneapolis Moline Model R. She was the first tractor the Mercer family ever owned, bought brand new by Rex's dad in the spring of 1941 for $810.
Originally, we kind of named her after the country star of Minnie Pearl. Here's one in 1954 that shows me on the tractor.
For 15 years, Minnie Pearl worked hard, awful hard, to earn her keep on the Mercer family farm. But sometimes hard work just isn't enough.
In 1956, I traded Minnie Pearl off for a 445 Moline to my uncle in Martinsville.
After all those years of loyal, unselfish service, how could Rex and his family do this to good old Minnie Pearl?
We was increasing the size of the farm and operation and everything, and we felt like we needed a little bigger tractor. And Minnie Pearl was only 23 horse, and the tractor I traded it off on, it was a 48 horse, which is a big up step in power at that time.
And so it was that at the age of 15, Minnie Pearl left home. And that's the end of the story. Until one fine day, 36 years later, two men in a truck pulled up in Rex's driveway. The truck was pulling a trailer, and on that trailer was an old pile of junk.
And I walked around it a few times, and finally I told the two fellows, I said, you know what you have here? And they said, no. And I said, well, you have Minnie Pearl. I said, this is my mom and dad's first tractor. And they said, Minnie who? And I said, this is Minnie Pearl. I said, I traded this tractor off in 1956, and we've never seen it since. And they want to know, well, how do you know it's your old tractor?
The extended back platform gave it away, and then there was the hay baler mount and the notch cut out for the hay baler's pin. These were just a few of the unique modifications young Rex had made to Minnie Pearl so many years before that let him know beyond the shadow of a doubt this was indeed the very same tractor.
So I told him, I said, well, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but I said, it's not going anywhere. I said, just back her down there in the barn and we'll unload it right here.
Well, I was gone when this tractor came into the drive. And when I got home, my husband was excited as any boy would be on Christmas morning.
Here's a picture of what she looked like when we first got it. It was terrible. Well, when Minnie Pearl came back, her front wheels was gone. The radiator had been beaten in. There's all the mice nest that was in the crankcase. Boy, I took a 5-gallon bucket full of them out of there. The hood had been taken off and laid down, and it had been run over. It was flattened out flat.
And I says, and you paid good money for this?
Isn't it amazing what 800 hours of restoration work can do? But where had Minnie Pearl been for 36 years? What had she been up to? Well, it seems she'd met up with this elderly gentleman who had lost his driver's license.
He drove this tractor backwards and forth to town and every place he went. It was his means of transportation.
But when the elderly gentleman finally died, poor Minnie Pearl had nobody to take care of her.
And that's when kids and everybody got at it and started vandalizing it and tearing it up.
But that's all behind her now.
Right now, Minnie Pearl is living a life of luxury. She's in the barn all the time, and when she's out, she's on display. I take her to various engine shows around in an area here, and I have a Minneapolis Moline umbrella that I usually put on her. And
although Rex now has dozens of classic tractors in his Minneapolis Moline collection, Minnie Pearl can't help but always be the one he considers his favorite. Just one look at Minnie Pearl's pretty face takes Rex back in time to when he was a boy, with his brothers and his sisters and his dad and his mom. 2 months before Minnie Pearl came home, Rex's mother passed away.
And then, like I said earlier, lo and behold, approximately 2 months after my mother passed away, why, it come back home. And it's just like somebody upstairs said, get that thing back where it belongs.
And stay a while longer this time, Minnie Pearl. Remember, you're not just any old tractor. You're part of the family.
Minnie Pearl's a prairie gold peach, isn't she? Nice to see she found her way back home. We'll case another tractor Dad had when Classic Tractor Fever continues.
Samuelson's Journal is our weekly get-together to share people I've met and places I have visited. I'm Orion Samuelson, and just about every week we travel to a different part of the country or the world, and we share those visits and those places with you on Samuelson's Journal. 4 times a week, Central Time, Saturday, 9 a.m. and 12:30 p.m., and Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Join us here on Channel Earth.
Every year, the importance of this land increases because every year there are a lot more mouths to feed. Over 95 million more, a figure greater than the population of Mexico. Fortunately, the food ingredients that Archer Daniels Midland makes from America's harvests can help feed people the world over. Food ingredients such as flour, protein, vegetable oils, and corn sweeteners. Making food and feed ingredients to meet our growing nutritional needs. That's why ADM is supermarket to the world.
Who introduced the first practical pneumatic farm tire and the long, even wear of 23-degree long bar designs? Who runs the world's only test center just for farm tires and built the first American-made tire specifically for mechanical front-wheel drive tractors? Who's saving today's farmers time and money? The first one, Firestone, the leader in the field. For more information or the location of the Firestone farm tire dealer nearest you, call now.
Someone once said, we all come into this world alone, and we leave the same way. But in between, we have the chance to connect and help each other, to find ways you can do something to connect with the people in your community, called La Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
You know, most classic tractor collectors have a sense that they are preserving history. And for a tractor your dad had, it's a family history. That's the way it is for Herb Wessel of Hampstead, Maryland, who's got buildings full of case machines and implements, but the tractor his dad had is a mighty special one.
Herb Wessel, we're Hampstead, Maryland. I'm sort of semi-retired from farming. My son now does most of the farming, and I help him occasionally when I feel like it, which is the way I like it. The first new tractor my dad bought was a Case DC, which is here behind me. I bought a new 400 case in '55, which I still have, and which was still used to farm, actively used. The case that my dad bought, he bought it in 1942, right after the start of the World War II. He thought that the equipment was going to get scarce, and he went to the local case dealer and bargained for this tractor, and it was our only tractor all during the World War II. We used it hard. We had some horses, but after the war, then we were able to buy some other tractors. But this has been in the family ever since it was new. It came from a dealer in Laytonsville, Maryland. It cost my dad $1,200 when he bought it new. He went to the dealer, and the dealer asked him $1,250 for it. He said, "No, I can't stand that. I'll give you $1,200 for it." The dealer said, "No, I can't take that." So my dad went home, and 2 weeks later, he was in the barn milking one evening. He got to thinking, he said, "You know, the war's getting worse, and I've been hearing about it. I'm going to go up and give that man $1,250 for that tractor." Just about that moment, the door opened to the barn, and the dealer walked in and said, "I decided to take your offer of $1,200 for that tractor." So that's when he made the deal. He's told me the story several times about acquiring it. Personally, I never cared to operate horses. I like things with a steering wheel and a seat. My dad liked to operate horses, so given a chance, I would grab the tractor while he took the horses to do the work. When my dad quit farming, I brought it up here and restored it. Didn't tell him I was restoring it until I got finished and invited him up to look at it. He was quite surprised when he saw that I had restored the tractor, and he, kind of like a kid at Christmas, when he saw the tractor look just like he did when he bought it. He was real excited about it.
It was an easy restoration because everything was in good shape, had been taken care of. Actually, this tractor spent 2 weeks at the Smithsonian several years ago. We did a show down there of baling and thrashing, and they came up and got some of our equipment, took it down, and this was one of the tractors that they selected to take down. One interesting thing about Case, as far as collecting is concerned, they had a wide range of colors. They started out with the green and red wheels. They went then to gray, dark gray, and in the middle 30s they came out with a small tractor that they didn't want to be confused with their regular line of tractors, so they painted it light gray, denoting light tractor. Then in 39 they figured that was, they both looked too drab, so they came up with a orange, reddish orange color that they called Flambeau Red, which they kept until the early 50s. I've spent a good many hours operating this tractor all during the war and after the war, and even after I got older and was farming for myself, I would use it quite often on the farm. And since it has been restored, we haven't used it other than taking it to shows. And this particular tractor is kind of special because it has been in the family and probably will remain in the family for hopefully a long time. I hope the children and grandchildren would maintain it till.
Herb's a major league case collector, isn't he? Now let's feed the fever a little bit more with another shot at Honest Ray's tractor lot. Get out your wallet this time. Here's one that's worth some cash. Take a look at this 1937 John Deere AW, unstyled, on steel. And the A was one of the most popular Johnny Poppers there was, and the AW was the wide row version. So what am I bid? What am I bid? Will she go for $5,500, $6,500, or $7,200? Blow the dust out of your wallet and we'll have the winning bid for you right after this.
When it comes to sunflower, nobody knows the business like Mycogen Seeds. That goes for high oleic, confection, bird feed, and oil types like these. I wish I could show you how these hybrids yield. Thank you. But I can show you the other thing that makes Mycogen hybrids the sunflower to plant. The oil.
See your local Mycogen Seeds representative.
It's really a controlled chaos. You go as hard as you can, as long as you can, and as safely as you can. It's a great feeling of satisfaction once the harvesting is finally done. The American farmer does a wonderful job of providing the cheapest, safest, most abundant supply of food in the world. If I'm doing anything wrong out there, environmentally, the first person that's going to be damaged is myself, my family, and there's nothing I'd ever do to endanger any of us. Our factory has no walls. We've got nothing to hide, and we're very proud of what we do. I feel connected to the land. It's a part of me. It's what I do.
George watched the Goslings swim. And they swam, and they swam.
From birth to age 3 are the most important years in a child's brain development. The time that defines who they become.
They saw a little baby.
Oh, it almost pains me to see this one go. It's mighty special. But what do you think this 1937 John Deere AW Unstyled is worth? Well, if you got $6,500 on your bid card, you got it right. That's what this one sold for at a recent, real live tractor auction. You know, it's not always easy to put the tractor your dad had back together. Sometimes you've got to hunt the world over for parts. And that's the way it was for Carl Keeler of Eastern Pennsylvania. When Brian Baxter visited with Carl, he found out his dad's 1957 International now really is international.
I would say it's a fever. It brings back fond memories of your youth or the time when, like I was born and raised on a farm, so naturally farm tractors are a very devout interest that I have.
Carl's classic tractor fever has flared up many times before, but never has it burned any brighter than when he decided to restore the old tractor his dad had.
The tractor is a 1957 International utility. My dad bought it brand new in '57. It stayed in the family. My brother took over the farm in the late '60s, and he's had the tractor ever since that point until we bought it a few years ago for restoration. The tractor was purchased brand new. We traded in a Farm OM, and this replaced the M, and I was 16 years old when my dad bought it.
In those days, the new International provided the main muscle at the Keeler family farm.
Originally, when it was purchased, it was the power tractor. We ran the forage harvester, did the plowing with it for about 10 years, and then as newer tractors were bought, this one got down to was used for lighter work.
Was this shiny red 57 International utility easy to restore? Well, not really.
It was tough. The metal work was kind of rough, and we spent a lot of time and a lot of money on it to get it restored.
Turns out the main expense, both in time and money, was the location and acquisition of all the broken and/or missing parts. But according to Carl, that's all part of the fun.
Yes, that's part of the fun of restoration, is the hunt of the parts.
The telephone lines were really humming as Carl conducted a scavenger hunt of national and international proportion.
The front tires are the original style tires from Firestone. They were made in Brazil. They say Firestone, and they were original Firestone molds from back in the 50s that were sold to Brazil for manufacturing there, and they're currently made there. The rear tires come from England. They're a Cambridge tire, and the reason I wanted those is they had the original 45-degree angle tread design, which was the type of tread design in the 50s.
Rear tires from England, front tires from Brazil, but a grill from a whole lot closer to home.
That came from a tractor restorer in western Pennsylvania. He apparently found a field full of them. When I said a field full of them, there was 50 or 60 of them. He brought all of them. It was new. It was a little rusty. Of course, we glass beat it and painted it up. That's the only new metal part that I had to replace. The rest I straightened and repaired.
One part of the tractor that didn't need repairing or replacing was the engine.
Mechanically, everything was fine. The engine is original on the tractor. We did not do any repairs to the engine at all.
But while the pistons did fire and the wheels did turn, there was still one spark missing from this nearly restored tractor.
Well, one of the unique parts on the tractor originally had a cigarette lighter in the dash. Of course, this was no longer operable, and I was looking for a new one to get it back to the original state. The cigarette lighter, I'm not sure, I think it was the state of Nebraska or Iowa. It came from there, and it was in the original box.
How much time did it take to turn what was once the family workhorse into a bright red, fine-tuned, shiny collector's showpiece?
I would say on a part-time basis, total restoration took about 1.5 years.
And check out the bright red paint job with the wet look. While other tractors will come and go in Carl Keeler's life, there'll never be another one like the 57 utility. After all, there's no replacing the tractor that Dad had.
Even in the rain, that IH looks good, doesn't it? We'll be back with more Fever right after this.
From sunup to sundown,
Channel Earth brings you the news that matters to rural America. From pocketbook issues that lawmakers decide in Washington, to international trade matters that can close our markets or open them, to the sometimes difficult hand dealt by Mother Nature, Channel Earth presents the story from the rural perspective. No other news service in the country brings you this up-close view of agriculture with a full appreciation of what's happening to the farmer. Channel Earth, Channel 283 on DirecTV.
When expensive vehicles are your business equipment, you can count on Amoco to protect your investment. Only Amoco Premier and Amoco Power Blend Premium Diesel fuels contain our exclusive Guardian additive package that helps keep your fuel systems clean and helps extend engine life with high cetane for fast starts, plus added detergency and added lubricity. Amoco Premium Diesel fuels help protect your engines and your investment. For purity, performance, and protection, count on Amoco diesel fuels.
And the country's part of us. You and me and Cimex Land O'Lakes are partners we can trust. That's right.
You know how inquisitive kids are. That's why you store sharp objects in a safe place. Keep medicines out of reach. And if you have a gun, you keep it unloaded and locked away. As concerned members of the television community, we urge you to be just as careful with television. Kids don't always know what they're watching. That's why you should.
My name's Ashley Wilhelm from Avondale, Pennsylvania, and I've got the beaver so bad that I even got John Deere braces.
If you like classic tractors, you'll hit the jackpot with these classic tractor playing cards. These deluxe playing cards come with 2 decks in each box, and every card carries a color photo of a beautiful classic tractor. There are 4 editions, the John Deere collection with 52 of the finest models from 1914 to 1960. The Worldwide edition featuring tractors from a dozen different countries, and 2 editions of various U.S. classic tractors. At $15 per box, it's a sweet deal. So order today. Just call 1-800-888-8979. That's 1-800-888-8979.
Whether it's a tractor Dad had or not, once you put a lot of work into a restoration, you really got a bond with that old tractor. Here's what I mean. Meet the Rosenboom family of Pomeroy, Iowa. They're shown here with the rare 1940s Friday Orchard tractor. But the Friday is a story for another day. The Rosenboom family is first and foremost an Alice Chalmers family. Their gorgeous 1938 WC appeared on the cover of the famous Classic Farm Tractors calendar several years ago. Always on the lookout for other orange tractors, Steve learned of an unrestored, extremely rare Alice Chalmers 1220, owned by Victor Ostin of Pelican Rapids, Minnesota. While the 1220 was not for sale, it could be traded for another rare tractor, a Frick. Steve located an unrestored Frick in Indiana and made the long road trip to pick it up. And within 2 weeks, the ancient Frick tractor was sitting in his yard. Now Steve was back on the phone with the Ostins in Minnesota. They selected a midway point between their homes and met there, then exchanged the old beat-up Alice Chalmers for the old beat-up Frick tractor. Then they both got busy. And look at this. Here's the finished Frick and Ostin family, and here's the finished Alice Chalmers 1220 in all its beauty with Paul Rosenboom at the wheel. Well done. Our congratulations to the Rosenboom and Ostin families. So send us your story and the pictures of a tractor you've brought back to life. Don't worry, we'll send them back to you. Write to Fever, Box 437, Rockland, Delaware, 19732. That's all for this week. I'm Ray Wilkinson. So long, and thanks for catching Classic Tractor Fever.
Coming up on California